this evening, we're going to go through our registration process and our screening process and what you'll need to bring to the next meeting in April. So with that being said, you guys are the parents of the class of 2036. And we're excited to welcome your kid. I know, seems like a long way off. It'll come around faster than you expect. But we're excited to have you here. We're excited to have your students here. I'm Devin Fritz, I'm the elementary principal, and this is Joey Emmerich. She is our elementary school counselor. So if you guys need anything throughout the process till your child starts, please don't hesitate to reach out to either one of us. I have a wonderful kindergarten team. We have 3 kindergarten teachers. Right now we have 47 students registered for kindergarten, and we expect a handful more. We assume will be between 50 and 55 students, which is a nice size class coming through. We'll have 3 kindergarten classrooms next year with 3 kindergarten teachers. Our kindergarten teachers this year are Mrs. Paulman, Mrs. Seckler, and Mrs. McKenzie, and I'm going to turn it over to them now. So, welcome. That was my fault. My fault.
You're fired.
Sure. We would just like to echo Mr. Pritz's thank you for coming. This is a good start. It finally becomes real tonight, I feel like. It's a great opportunity also for your kiddos to meet future classmates down in the gym. They're actually down there rotating through centers. One year, the parents afterwards said, I had no idea where my kid went. Like, what were they doing? Trust me, they're in good hands. The instructional aides are down there. They're rotating through groups. They're just doing a lot of play centers. They're building lots of fine motor activities. So we like to keep them busy so that they're happy and we can get through this session, hopefully keep it moving for you. Hopefully, if you come with any questions, we can answer those for you. This is just a night to give you an overview of our expectations, things that you can do to maybe help prepare them if you feel like they're not prepared yet so far. Before I get started, I would like to mention that packet of information that you got there. Inside the red folder, there is a nice little booklet that they put together. It is a picture book of places in the school. So they take pictures of lots of classrooms, places your kids might visit. There's also pictures of faculty in there. So we strongly encourage you to sit down with your kiddo at some point and go through that book with them. That just gives them an opportunity to kind of see some familiar faces before they actually come to us. Warm them up a little bit, give them an idea of what they might see whenever they come here. There's also lots of other good stuff in there. There's an informational packet, kind of going to go over a little bit of the things that we cover in the slideshow. There's also, I believe, writing paper included in there, and lots of other good things just to give you some more information. The other packet is the registration things that you'll need to bring with you for screening. Excuse me. So I just wanted to mention those things because sometimes I finish and then totally forget and say, oh yeah, I should have mentioned the pamphlets. So if you just want to go through those things with your kiddos later, that would be great. We're going to go ahead and get started. So Mrs. Seckler, Mrs. McKenzie, and I are the 3 kindergarten teachers currently, and here are our glamour shots from Life Touch. Nice. So to get started, some cognitive skills that we recommend that they have, being able to identify some upper and lowercase letters. We actually ask them that at the screening as well. If they can identify at least some of them, it's very helpful when they get here. Right out of the gate, first week of school, we're assessing them, trying to get an idea of what their reading level might be, how much they already know before they're coming to us. So if you can teach them the majority of their letters, if not all of them, that would be great. Also, letter sounds are very helpful too, because we start reading right away immediately in kindergarten, so the more they come with as a background, the better they're going to do. Being able to recognize numbers through 10, and being able to count 10 objects with one-to-one correspondence. And that's something that's very easy to practice. If you give them a snack, you can line the pieces up and practice counting one-to-one. If you're outside in the yard, you can pick up some rocks and just count them. Practice that one-to-one. That really helps them out whenever they get here if they can already do that. And being able to identify some shapes and colors, being able to trace them too. It's really important that you get that pencil or marker or crayon, something in their hand. Kiddos often come to us at the screening and they can identify all their letters and all their shapes. But whenever you give them that pencil, they kind of freeze up and they don't really know how to use it. Some of them even come to us holding the pencil like this. So strongly encourage you to try to use those pencils markers, any kind of writing utensil, just to get them ready to go. As far as listening and verbal skills, being able to speak clearly in incomplete sentences, Mrs. Hay, the speech therapist, is not here this evening, but if you feel like your kiddo is having some speech issues and you're having trouble understanding them and maybe they don't have any services yet, please call the office and contact them and they can get you in touch with Mrs. Hay and schedule something. She doesn't assess them at screenings anymore. She did in previous years, but she just waits until they come in the fall to assess them here. But if you know in advance that they're going to need some services, it's easier for us to get them started if you call and make an appointment and talk to her in advance. Being able to hold a conversation and express themselves, they need to be able to tell us, if they don't feel good, if they need this or if they need that. So encourage them to use their words. I know some people, their kids just like to hide behind them and they don't want to be the one to say it. Encourage them to use their own voice so that they can express to us what they need whenever they get to school. Being able to understand and follow 1 to 2 step directions, and that's an easy thing to practice at home too. Give them a job to do or give them something that they need to follow through and finish. Go get something and do something with it. Just practice those listening and following through with directions things at home. And being able to answer basic questions. What do you want to eat for lunch? Little simple things like that. Fine and gross motor skills, and this I mentioned previously too, just get those writing utensils in their hands. When they come to us, we do make them write with 1 capital letter and the rest of the name lowercase. So if you're still practicing at home, we encourage you to practice it that way so we don't have to undo it when they get here if they're still learning. A lot of them come with writing all uppercase letters, and then we kind of transition them out of that immediately and try to do 1 uppercase and the rest lowercase. So if you're practicing at home, please try to do that instead before they get here. And also encouraging some self-help skills. It's so easy to do everything for our kids, especially in the hustle and bustle of life. We gotta go, we gotta get out the door, we have so many places to be, and it's just easy to put their shoes on and throw their coat on and just get where you need to go. But it's harder when they get here because they have to do everything independently. We're stuck with 20 kids in a room and we can't do everything for everyone. So if they can put their own coat on and they can zip it up themselves, if they can take care of their own book bag, all those self-help independence skills are very helpful for us. We're more than willing to help anybody we need to, but when we need 20 of them to help, it kind of is lengthy and it takes us a lot of time. So it's just more beneficial if you can kind of teach them some self-help things at home, like zipping their own book bag. There's always 1 or 2 in the class that have no idea how to even get their book bag open. So we have to practice zipping and unzipping. So if they're practicing that at home, it's very helpful for us once they get here. So manipulating those zippers and buttons works out great. Another thing is walking up and down the stairs with alternating feet. Kindergarten is downstairs, and everything else is typically upstairs. We come upstairs for specials, we come upstairs for the cafeteria, so it's a lot of up and down the steps. So if they can do the steps independently with alternating feet, it makes the travel much easier for us. So if you don't have steps at your house, I'd recommend maybe, look for a place to practice steps just so that they can do that whenever they get here. To enhance some of those skills, if you're struggling at home, we recommend practicing writing on whiteboards. So easy to get. You can get them from the dollar store, you can get them from Walmart. We use them here at school all the time. Writing name in shaving cream on foil. You can write their name in sand on a tray or sugar on a tray. You can write their name with highlighter, have them trace over top of it. We do a ton of rainbow writing here. If you write their name once, they can just go over top of it with red and then go over top of it again with yellow and then another time with green. And you can use the same name paper over and over again. Oftentimes when they come to screening, if they can't write their name, they'll just say, I can't get them to practice. I don't know what to do with them. So there are a variety of things that don't have to be stressful, and it doesn't always have to be a pencil and a piece of paper. There can be lots of other ways to practice at home. Practicing with the buttons, the zippers, any kind of travel toys are really great because they're using those fine motor skills to kind of manipulate the pieces. So any little things, practicing with clothespins, squeezing the Play-Doh, all of those things enhance their fine motor skills and make them, better students whenever they get here because they can use those muscles well. Practicing with cutting on a line is great. You can have them cut out pictures in a magazine or pictures in a newspaper. Just draw a straight line on a piece of paper. Just let them practice with scissors. We recommend thumbs up for cutting. And if they practice at home, once they get here, we cut all the time. And it's definitely clear who's never held a pair of scissors. Once they get here, they're kind of just flipping them around. They come to screening, sometimes they've never put a pair of scissors in their hands, and we can tell. So if you can find some kids' scissors and just practice at home, it goes much smoother for them, the transition. Here are a couple examples. of ways you can practice name writing. There's some sand writing, there's shaving cream on foil. You can do shaving cream in the bathtub, on the wall, lots of different ways. If you don't like the mess, you can just put out a piece of foil, practice it there, erase it, practice your letters and numbers, all kinds of things you can do with the shaving cream. There's also whiteboard work. You can dot the name and then even do hand over hand if you need to at first to practice. There's a picture with the highlighter name and also the rainbow writing. So those are just some extra ideas for you if you're struggling with name practice at home. Emotionally, they have to be able to separate from you. There's always usually a couple kiddos at the door that we have to kind of peel to get them to stay. So if you know you're having trouble with that separation already, please in advance try to practice a little bit, even if it's just for small amounts of time. It makes their transition so much easier because if they don't want to leave mom and dad and we're crying and then they come to the room, it's a really long day and it's just a hard time for them. So if in advance you can practice a little bit of separation if they've not been away from you much, we would totally recommend that before they get here. They need to be able to manage their own bathroom needs. They go into a stall and totally do their own thing, their own business, lock the stall, come back out whenever they're done and wash their hands at the sinks. We don't go in the bathrooms with anybody, we don't do diapers, we don't wipe any bottoms. They have to be completely independent with the bathroom. They have to be able to verbalize their own needs. Like if they need to use the restroom and it's not a restroom break, encourage them that they need to just be able to voice that and let us know. Being able to sit through an age-appropriate story without interrupting. If you read stories at home and you notice that they're talking a lot the whole way through the story, they need to be able to kind of wait for their turn to talk, and that will all come eventually in the room being exposed in kindergarten. But if you're practicing that at home, it's just going to follow through to the classroom too. Also being able to work independently for short periods of time. If you start a piece of paper at home, if you're doing a coloring sheet or you're practicing the name, encourage them to keep working until they're finished because that's what they're going to have to do here. Can't just stop halfway and go run and get a snack and then come back. So encourage them to complete a whole task before they run off and do something else. Social expectations. They need to be able to treat everybody respectfully, adults and classmates alike. Respecting the property of others, being able to know what's theirs, what they can touch and take, and what they need to share with, things like that. Being able to share and take turns. And some of these other things I've already mentioned, following directions, completing a task. So that's all the expectations we really have. As far as curriculum, we just want to talk briefly about what we have here. We are using a language arts series from McGraw-Hill. We use a Wonders series. And in that series, we cover one big book throughout the week, and then we have letters that we learn. Usually we start the year with just one letter a week, and we talk about that letter all week. We think of what starts with that letter, we practice writing that letter, and then eventually we're up to 2 letters a week until we finish. So everything centers around an essential questions. There's kind of like a theme of the week. There's phonics pages that go along with it. We also do guided reading in small groups, and when we do guided reading, we often do journal writing. We learn a book one day and we write about it the next day, just so that the reading and the writing kind of goes hand in hand. Our math series is also through McGraw-Hill. We are currently using the Everyday Math series, which is just a ton of hands-on games and activities for kindergarten. We're talking about switching up that series. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not, maybe in the near future. Also, we go through science kits. We have 2 kits. In the fall, we work through a fabric kit, and in the spring, we work through a wood and paper kit. And when we're not doing science, we typically work in centers, which is just enrichment and games, or we also work through an iReady program on the Chromebooks and computers. Once your kiddo gets here, they'll actually be assigned their own Chromebook to take back and forth to use all the time. We have an online thing too, like if you have to stay home, you can do the online lessons. So you'll learn about all that though whenever you come for meet the teacher. As far as the kindergarten screening dates, I assume that you've all made an appointment. If you've not made an appointment, you can see Ginger out here and she will schedule you. We are doing screenings Tuesday the 18th, Wednesday the 19th, and Thursday the 20th. We will each take a day.
I just wanted to mention that in your folders is your appointment time.
Oh.
In the yellow.
Appointment times in the folder. If it doesn't work out and you need to reschedule, you can always call the office. We will be screening them. We each take a day out of the classroom to screen the kiddos. Just because we screen them doesn't mean that's who we'll have for kindergarten. It's kind of just a whenever you schedule, however it works out, that's who ends up screening them. The guidance counselor will take all the information then, and she makes class lists throughout the summer closer to the school year. When you bring them for the screening, it's not a pass-fail test. It's just an assessment to see what kind of skills they have, what they already know before they come to see us. And here's a list of all the things that we ask them when they get here. We'll ask them colors, shapes, they'll have to identify them and draw them. Practice counting for us. Believe it or not, some of them can count to 100 when they get here. Not that we're asking them to do that, but if they can just count to 10, that would be great. Counting using the one-to-one correspondence, we give them pieces to touch and count. We give them scissors to practice cutting on a line. We show them all the letters and numbers in random order to see which ones they can identify. We ask them to print their first name, and we give them a pencil to draw shapes and to draw a person. So all that usually takes around about 10-ish minutes, maybe 15. So they'll just come in and sit with us, and then you'll fill out your paperwork, do all that stuff with Ginger, get the registration stuff over with, and then if you have any questions there, you can let us know. Materials that you're going to be receiving, I don't believe we gave them out tonight, but you'll be receiving triangular pencils, lined writing paper, and some scissors to practice with. And ready or not, here it comes. So I think tonight it's definitely starting to feel, like it's coming up, it's getting closer. And this is just a quick overview. So hopefully, if you've any further questions, we can answer them for you later if we haven't so far. But if you have reservations about even if you want to send them to kindergarten, or if you feel like they're not ready, you can just talk to one of us and we can work all that out. But in conclusion, we would just like to say that getting ready is a process that should start long before they even get to kindergarten. And probably a ton of these things you're already doing at home to get them ready. But try to keep it light. Don't make it too stressful. Just practice these things on and off, just for a little snippet of time, maybe every day, just a little bit of time here and there, just to get them more prepared. If they start early and you encourage all that independence with your child, they're going to have a much stronger and exciting start to the school year. They're going to feel better about their experience. They're going to want to come to school. So if they have a positive attitude, trust me, it makes life so much easier. So we would like for a smooth transition for everybody. Kindergarten has definitely changed over the years, just like everybody else. It's evolving and it looks a lot different than it used to. A lot more expectations, lots of things that we're doing here that we didn't do in the past. So it can be kind of demanding. It's definitely exhausting in the beginning for most of them, even for the most of us, just to get that transition in place. So if they're prepared and you're getting them ready and they're feeling independent and they have these skills, they're going to have a much better experience. We want everybody to have a great, positive experience. Kindergarten is a happy place. So, we just want to keep it that way for everybody. If you feel like they can't do a lot of these things, and a lot of people say, hey, I'm not worried about it. That's the kindergarten teacher's job, and it's totally our job. We will teach them anything they can't or haven't learned, but they will feel better and more confident if they can do these things, if they have the skills necessary to be successful at this level. Whenever all their friends around them are able to do it, they can do things on their own, they kind of feel that. And I think as individuals, we can totally relate to that, because whenever you're good at something, you want to do it. It's fun, School's a place you want to go if you're good at it and you can do these things. But it's a little stressful, and some of them tend to not want to come here if they're having a hard time. So if you prepare them in advance and get them ready, they're going to have a much better experience. Here's a slide showing things that you need to bring with you. If you want to snap a picture of this slide, all the information is also in the folder, but Ginger gets real worked up about make sure they know what to bring so that they don't have to chase you down and get all these things before school started, so you have everything the day that you come. Please make sure you bring proof of residency, your child's birth certificate, a copy of their shot records, the registration packet completed and filled out. If it applies to you, custody paperwork, and please remember to bring your child. Every year, without fail, there's one or two that come without a child, and then they have to reschedule, and then it kind of just gets a little crazy. So if you just bring them the first time when you're ready, it works out great. Does anyone have any questions?
Do you need 2 forms of proof of residency, or just
Ginger Ackerman? I believe it's just one.
Just one.
okay?
Driver's license, please. Anything else?
Anybody else have a question? If you think of something later that you don't want to ask in front of everybody, you can track one of us down and ask us later if you'd like, and everybody to not hear it. No questions? Okay, well, we are actually going to go down to the gym and visit your kiddos for a couple minutes, and I'm going to turn it over to the special education coordinator. Yeah, a couple slides there.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming. My name is Kayla Loya, I'm the special education coordinator here at the school. So I just have a few slides to talk to you about related to special education and special services should your child need them. The federal government and the state regulations stipulate that every school has a process to find kids who may have a disability or have a disability and might need supports to be successful at school. That process is called Child Find. Part of this starts whenever your kids are being screened at kindergarten readiness time. Some of you I've already met if your students or your children have had early intervention services prior to enrolling in school. And that process gets started with the screening that will allow teachers to kind of see how your kids compare to other kids the same age as them. Qualifying for special services in school is a little different than in preschool. Kids have to have one of the disabilities outlined in the federal and state regulations, and they also need to show a need for specialized instruction. So if they have both of those things, they would qualify for special education services. There is a list of some of the disabilities that would allow a student to qualify for special education services. Often kids who have special education services need other services to support them. Some of those might be speech and language therapy, like they mentioned with Mrs. Hay, specialized transportation, occupational or physical therapy, special nursing services, audiology services. Part of the process whenever we have a student with special education needs is parent counseling and training. We also have a social worker available for any of those needs. And then recreation related to socializing. Lots of people can make a referral for Child Find to see whether a student needs specialized services. You can, first of all. Also, teachers, doctors, other community members, service providers can make a referral for a student to be evaluated. But we can't evaluate a student for special education services unless you give your consent. So that's a process where we really need to work together with parents to get their input and any concerns they have, information about that, so that we can all work together to get what the student needs for that student. Sometimes students who have disabilities don't show a need for specialized instruction, but they do need some support. Those students often qualify for something called 504 service agreements. They allow for accommodations for students who have a disability that is really impacting their ability to attend school or to learn. Some examples of this might be ADHD or ADD, epilepsy, diabetes. Often students with medical conditions fall under this umbrella so that all their teachers and everyone that works with them know that they have special needs and how to meet those needs for them. There's my contact information. If you have any questions, does anybody have any questions right now? This is kind of a more personal topic, so just like Ms. Paulman mentioned, if you have any questions for me, I'm around this evening. We also have our own school psychologist now in-house. We used to contract with the local intermediate unit, but she's here all the time now, so she's a great resource if anyone has any questions about your children and any needs they might have as well. Anything else? Okay. And some of the related services we have are OT, PT, speech. And I don't believe, Nicole's not here, right? Okay, Nicole's gonna come, but, okay, so then I guess you're up, Amy.
So I'm gonna turn it over to our school nurse, Ms. Amy Brown. Just on the left side, where there's will be put the left, yep. And on two colors.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Rao, the school nurse. Just to let you know, next year will be my 25th year here at Myers, or not at Myersdale, but as a school nurse, my 25th year. One unique aspect of my role here is that since I care for students kindergarten through 12th grade, we will be friends for the next 13 years. I have just a couple topics I'd like to briefly discuss tonight. This year at registration, I'm only going to be meeting with parents who have requested it ahead of time. So please call the elementary office and ask them to make a note that you would like to speak with me at registration. Okay. Students are required by law to have the appropriate immunizations prior to school unless there's a medical or religious exemption. Please bring the shot record with you the day of registration. I cannot stress how important this is. In the past, schools were given 8 months to provisionally enroll a student who was not adequately immunized. But the law changed and was passed that now we only have 5 school days. So it's not only kindergartners that I have to be watching the immunizations. There are also additions to 7th graders and seniors. So it's not just kindergarten that I'm monitoring the shots, it's the other grades too. So please make it easy on me, make it easy on you. Bring it with you the day of registration. Even if they don't have their 5-year-old shot yet, that's okay. I at least need to know that they started the series and they're allowed to start school. I won't be calling you or your child's doctor to try to get the shots that I need. It is your responsibility to have those sent to me. If your child was enrolled here in K-4 or Head Start, you still need to provide to me the shot record because those programs aren't really allowed to share health information with me. So even if they're enrolled here, I still need you to give me a copy. If I don't have any record of immunizations by the first day of school, your child cannot come. I've had parents in the past call me when we have a teacher work day the day before school. Can't I just send the records with them in their book bag on the bus? No, they're not even allowed on the bus unless they're cleared by me. So please make sure that I have the proper documentation well before the first day of school. If your child is missing immunizations, remember you have those 5 school days to get it done. A lot of doctors are giving them at age 4, so probably most of your kids are ready to go, honestly. Okay. Physicals are required for kindergartners. I realize your insurance might only allow 1 doctor visit per calendar year. If you had one already this year, I will accept it. You can have the doctor's office fax it to us. You can get a copy and bring it to registration. Dental exams are also required, so please have your dentist complete that form for us as well. If your child had that exam this past January or February, I can accept that, but since kids are supposed to see the dentist every 6 months, if they didn't have it January, February, 6 months from now, school will be starting and then send the dental. I'm not as nitpicky on the dental as I am the physical. So I gave you guys a little bit more time to get that dental exam in. I mean, I still have dental exams for my kindergartners rolling in right now just because of the way their appointments fell and COVID had a big delay with the dentist. Food allergies versus food sensitivities. If your child has a true life-threatening food allergy, please schedule to meet with me on registration day or see me tonight, and I'll give you the required forms that we need completed. We do require an EpiPen if your child has been prescribed one. There's also a required cafeteria form that we need completed by your child's doctor. The state requires a medication order for every single medicine I give, meaning if your child needs an antibiotic, I need a doctor's order completed by the doctor and signed by you, the parent. Please do not send medications in with your child's name on it in a Ziploc baggie. Over the years, this happens a lot. I have no idea what the medicine could be. It could be grandpa's for all I know. I will not give the child a medication that comes to school in a baggie or in a Tupperware container. It needs to be in the pharmacy labeled bottle. And I can't let a child use an inhaler that comes without that prescription box. It has to have their name on it. The pharmacies are really good at giving double bottles or the box, the extra box. And the doctors in the area also know that this required form, it's the same in every single Somerset County school, so they're familiar. Let's say your child was seen in the ER and they need a medication at lunchtime. I'll work with you on that, but give me a call and let me know, okay? And due to COVID, the use of nebulizers in school has been discouraged, so please discuss an inhaler and a spacer with your child. Our 5 and 6-year-olds do great with an inhaler and a spacer. Let's see. There was all the rules on the medication. I really don't like the medication being brought on the bus, especially if it's ADD med, definitely can't be on the bus, EpiPen shouldn't be on the bus. So please give me a call if you need to send a medication in. Okay, headlights, everybody's favorite topic. There's a packet of info in your folder tonight, but in a nutshell, lice is common. It almost disappeared here though during COVID, but it has sadly returned. The good news is, because of COVID, we have supplied each student with a tote or bin with their name on it that follows them through the elementary. This bin is big enough for their book bag and their coat. These bins have provided me much happiness because it truly does keep the lice numbers down. The kids are really good at putting everything in their bins, and then the bins fit in the cubbies and they're stacked. So it's really nice because the coats in the book bags aren't touching, and I think it just makes everybody feel better. Be checking your child regularly for head lice though, especially if they're an extracurricular or they do sleepovers. If you catch lice early enough, it's better for everybody. Keep that packet of lice info in your linen closet and keep it where your shampoo is. That way when you see one and you're freaking out, you'll know where the packet of information is. Stay calm, give me a call, and we'll work together to get it taken care of. But a student dismissed for live lice also has to be cleared by me before they can return to school and before they can get on the bus. Please check our student handbook too on bed bug procedures, but again, the bins are a great help in this effort as well. Illness and injuries. I am the school nurse for kindergarten through 12th grade. We have about 830 students. I see on average 60 kids a day for illness or injury, and in addition to that, I give medication daily to about 25 kids. The past couple years, the district has provided me help with other RNs, and their help is invaluable. We work closely together, we tag team all day. We are busy, but one of the rules we live by in my office is if our own child went to the nurse for this or that, would we want to know? If the answer is yes, we will be calling you or leaving a message on your phone. If a child is going home with a bump or mark from running into someone or something, we do our best to track you down, just to let you know. If they have a fever, I will call you. I don't call for every little thing, but things that have me concerned, we call. I'm on the phone a lot, but I think communication is very important. Please call me if you have any questions or concerns. I'm easily reached. I have a phone in my office, and I will call you back, I promise. Okay. Over the past couple years, I've ended my information session with a comment about keeping your child as a priority, but I want to elaborate on this a little bit. Some of you may be familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Basically, it's a theory that states what a person needs to be their best self. The shape he used is a triangle. At the base, the biggest part is food, water, sleep. Next is safety. Above that is love and belonging. And above that is self-esteem. And at the top is reaching your highest potential. Your job as a parent is to provide all of that. We will work with you and your student to get them to the top. But they won't get to the top if they don't have the things listed at the base of the triangle. They need a good foundation, and that starts at home. One of the biggest issues we see here at school at all grade levels is students not getting enough sleep. One of our biggest contributors to the lack of sleep is a child having a TV in their bedroom. I have kids or parents tell me they use it as a nightlight, they fall asleep and it just stays on. But this practice is preventing your student from getting to the crucial stages of sleep that help keep their mind and body healthy. If you can change this habit now, I promise you, you will have less fights with your teenager and a healthier relationship with your child if you set the rules now. If you haul that TV out of their room tonight or you put a timer on it, you can blame the school nurse. Say it's the school nurse's role if you don't want to be the bad guy. I won't be offended. Same goes for iPhones, iPads, etc. Kids do need limits. Another concern of mine is kids in the elementary school should not be getting themselves up and getting ready for school by themselves. Please get up with your child. Make sure they're ready for the day with clean clothes, socks on in the winter, hairbrush, teeth brush, face washed. When a child comes ill-prepared with basic needs, the rest of the day can be a real struggle for them. One more quick thought. I've learned some things over 24 years, and like I said at the beginning, I'm in the unique position that I get to see your child enter school and then graduate. I also get to work with your students and you for 13 years. You're here tonight because you want your child to start off on the right foot. The love you have for your child and the priority that you've made them tonight must continue until they graduate. Many problems that I see in our students are due to children not staying their parents' first priority. Please continue to make your child's first priority. If you can do that, your child will definitely become their best self. And I just wanted to throw this in there, that my two kids went to school here, and I think Myersville did a wonderful job of preparing them for the real world. We have a great team here, and I'm not just saying that because I work here. I work with all 3 buildings, all the staff. Our administration and especially our support staff are top-notch, and we will do what we can to support you and your students. Thank you for your attention tonight. Again, if you have any questions, seek me out afterward or call me. Does anybody have a general question they need to answer now? They need answered now? Okay. All right.
And I think that's the end of the presentations we have for tonight. OTPT couldn't come, speech couldn't come, so if you have any specific questions for any of them, you can go ahead and contact the office or check with one of us. But I think that's it. I hope you're not too upset that we're all done in this stuffy room. I think the kiddos have made it through all of the stations, so you can just go ahead down to the gym and pick up your child. Thank you so much for coming.